The Eurasian Times has reported that Russia is facing a difficult time to fulfill its domestic order of 76 Su-57 stealth fighter jets for the Russian Air Force, and the December 2019 incident with one of the jets has compelled the company to halt the work on the program. It also reported that India could seriously consider purchasing an initial batch of Su-57 fighter jets from Russia to evaluate their capabilities before entering into a contract for joint production. The Indian Air Force chief has already stated that the Indian Air Force will not procure any fifth-generation fighter jet from any foreign country, and instead prefers the indigenous 5.5 generation AMCA program, and that the DRDO must make the AMCA happen. We have already reported that Hindustan Aeronautics and the DRDO will soon announce a joint venture with a private sector firm to jointly develop the AMCA, while on the other hand, India and UK will soon announce a partnership to develop a 110 kN class engine for the AMCA, which is also developing an engine for the Tempest 6th generation fighter jet. The medium-weight fighter will skip the technology demonstrator and prototype stage, and the first IOC standard configuration aircraft is slated to have its first flight by 2022, and the Aeronautical Development Agency plans to field 3 IOC standard and 2 FOC standard medium-weight fighter before it is ready for production by 2029. The Aeronautical Development Agency has adopted computer simulations that has helped to perfect the design of the aircraft, and has also cut down on the required time to test basic flight characteristics of the aircraft. Hindustan Aeronautics plans to outsource sub-assemblies of the fuselage to the Tier 2 and Tier 3 suppliers, due to which the production line can hit the rate of 24 units per year from the first year of production. The first metal cutting process will happen in early 2021, and it is reported that it will require close to 12 months to roll out the first medium-weight fighter for its first flight by the second half of 2022. 12 F-414 engines have already arrived in India, and major components like digital flight control computer, avionics and navigation equipments, EW and onboard oxygen generator are already developed, but concern still remains on availability of the indigenous radar system in the required time frame. Submarine construction is the most complex industrial operation worldwide, which have been established after the delays in the American Virginia-class submarine project, the Borei-class submarine program of Russia, the Collins-class submarine of Australia, the Greek and Korean submarine programs, and the 10-year delay in the Spanish S-80 submarine program. So the suggestion of scrapping the P75I submarine project of the Indian Navy and going with the local design proposed by Larsen and Toubro of a small coastal submarine will be a big mistake, and might meet the same fate of the indigenous cavalry engine. The Indian Navy requires a 3,000-ton Class 6 next-generation stealth submarines with vertical launch systems and air-independent propulsion system, and a local design built from scratch is still not a viable option at this stage, even if we ignore the teething issues. Mazagon Dock Limited had to rebuild its infrastructure, equipment and manpower from scratch to build the 6 P75 Scorpion-class submarines, and even with technology transfer, the project has already seen a delay of 6 years, and has also crossed over the project cost. Larsen and Toubro has made hulls for INS Arihant nuclear submarine, and they have excellent design and engineering teams, but they don't have a production line, and the most logical step should be to create a second production line at Larsen and Toubro with the help of a foreign collaborator, with an average production rate of 6 submarines for a period of 10 years in continuity. Russia has already offered intellectual property rights of the submarine that will be built on the Amur-class design, and India is free to equip it with the DRDO-developed AIP system, submarine-launched BrahMos and long-range cruise systems, and there will be no limit to the number of submarines that can be built, and India can also export these submarines to friendly countries. After the P75 and P75I program is completed, both Mazagon Dock Limited and Larsen & Toubro will be ready with the infrastructure, technology and manpower to move to a local design and production of 12 next-generation submarines under the P76. The Chennai-based engineer who was credited by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration in 2019 for spotting the debris of the Vikram moonlander of Chandrayaan-2 mission, has now come up with a new discovery. He has now claimed to have spotted the Chandrayaan-2 rover, which seems to be intact on the moon's surface. He has shared the picture on Twitter, and the rover seems to have rolled out a few meters from the moonlander, as the lander might have received the commands sent to it from Earth, and it might have relayed it to the rover, but it failed to communicate back to Earth. After the ban of 106 Chinese mobile applications and import of television, Indian government will review 54 Memorandum of Understanding that were signed between Indian educational institutions and Chinese institutions. The Confucius Institutes are directly funded by Ministry of Education of People's Republic of China, which aims to promote Chinese language and culture, but they have been criticized in the US and UK for helping spread the Chinese propaganda, and Australia had even launched an investigation whether the Chinese Institute have broken any anti-foreign interference laws of the country.
It became very, very clear for the Canadian Security Intelligence Service that, just like many other Western agencies, that the Confucius Institute were used to manipulate not only the academic world where they were implanted, but to also emanate more influence outside of the campus as well.
Oh, Mark dropped it.